Hi you guys, Jack Rogers here, and I hope everybody is well. Now in this video we are going to be talking about another variation of scale, which is going to be the evergreen campaign. So I'm actually just in a client's account at the moment, and we can jump straight into it. So as we can see here, we have a top of funnel creative testing campaign. If we go over to the ads, we have a clear winner right out the back. We got this one, it's a leads campaign, but the same process follows across the board for ecom. So as you can see, we've got 21 leads, a cost per lead of $11 compared to the average here, which is quite high, and these two didn't bring in any leads at all. So what I'm going to do is go through and create a evergreen campaign. Now, this obviously is going to be more geared towards the leads aspect, but the same structure applies for ecom. The only difference is obviously you want to set it for sales. So we can do TOF, so top of funnel, because this is going to be a completely cold audience again. So we can do top of funnel, and we can call this the evergreen, and I would do this on a CBO structure. So CBO is campaign budget optimization. We can then turn on campaign budget optimization. And then in terms of spend for your evergreen campaign, I would personally be looking at about 40% of your daily ad spend for this campaign. So in terms of like a budget breakdown across the board, I would have 40% for my scaling campaign. I would have 40% for my creative testing campaign, and then I would have 15% for my retargeting campaign, and then I'd have 5% for my post-purchase. And the reason why my scaling campaign and my creative testing campaign would have the same level of budget is because in our creative testing campaign, we're coming up with new angles, new ideas, different approaches, right? And unfortunately, as part of Facebook ads, not every strategy or every creative or every piece of copy that we implement is going to be a winning one. And that's part of the game, right? Now, the problem with just having one campaign is because we have specific ads that don't necessarily work, that's going to bring our cost per result average up, where splitting the budget sort of 40 and 40 for your evergreen and your scaling campaign means you offset those ads that don't necessarily perform. So as we can sort of go into the ad set here, what I'm going to do is do TOF/EG, and my first ad set is going to be a completely broad one again. So I'm not going to make any changes here at all. What I'm then going to do is duplicate this ad set out twice. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have a TOF/EG, and I'm going to have a lookalike audience. So if you're unfamiliar with lookalike audiences, there is a really good training module done on this. It is in the ad sets module, so go check that out. But we can go down to lookalike audiences, we can go to custom audiences, and we can choose our Canadian people who've submitted a form, right? I'm then going to turn this advantage lookalike off, because when this is turned on, what Facebook are essentially going to do is target people outside of what we've specified here. Now, me personally, I would be looking to sort of stack up more lookalike audiences than this. So for me, I would be looking, if you're ecom, I'd be doing a lookalike audience off your purchasers, off your add to carts, to your initiate checkouts, your landing page, your website visits. If you're lead gen, I would be doing form submitted, form opened, form viewed. If you're if you use instant forms, if you do landing page views, I do website visitors, form submissions, anybody that's scheduled a call with you, and then obviously your website visitors. And you can also do your Facebook and Instagram engagers here as well. I'm not going to cover that process because there is a training module that I've recorded on lookalike audiences. So if you want to go check that out, it's in the ad set module. And then in the final one here, I am going to do stacked interest. So I'm going to come down to my audiences, I'm going to switch to original audience, and what I'm going to do is add in some detailed targeting options. Again, I'm going to turn off the advantage detailed targeting option, and then I'm going to add in between 3 to 10 keywords that make sense for my business. Now, I do briefly talk about the detailed targeting options slightly higher up, and what you don't want to do is just add in targeting options that you just add in keywords for the sake of adding keywords, right? You really want to dive into your audience. So just as an example, I have been recently working with a coffee company, and we've done like the default one of targeting coffee, Costa, coffee shops, Starbucks. But then I've also targeted people like office workers. I've also gone into like teachers, and we can like sort of talk about avoiding that afternoon slump as an example. So you really want to make sure that the keywords that you're choosing here are targeted to who is likely to buy your product. You don't just want to add in options for the sake of adding in options. So that's the general structure of the Evergreen campaign. Now, one thing that I want to make really clear is that you don't want to just add ads in here. And this isn't a campaign that you're going to launch straight away. This is only once you identify the winning ads. But once you identify the winning ads from your top of funnel creative testing campaign, what you can do is actually go in, find that winning one. So as we can see here, this creative test 3 is our winning one, and we can move that into each of the ad sets. So once I've identified that winning ad, what I can do is go over to the share button here, go Facebook posts with comments. And what I can then do is copy this little code or this number after where it says post here. Now, just for like a little bit of reference, sometimes it might be a number, sometimes it might be letters. So it's essentially just anything after posts there. And what we can then do is go back over to our Evergreen campaign, and we can go, rather than creating an ad, we can use an existing post and paste in our ID here, select that. And as you can see, when we do it through this approach, if I go in and add it again, because we want to add it to each of the ad sets. So go existing posts again, select a post, paste that ID in there and select that. The reason why we do it that way is because it carries over the social proof. So as we can see, it brings the likes, the comments, the shares, which is really good for portraying you as the credible source in the space. So that's going to just help with your generalized conversions, right? You can just go in and duplicate the ad, but you lose the social proof aspect. So me personally, I would always go through that button, Facebook post with comments, and copy that post ID. So this is the Evergreen structure. So a couple of things to sort of summarize with this is you want to make 3 ad sets with 3 different targeting options. You want your broad advantage plus, you want your lookalike audiences, and you want your stacked interests. You want to then move, or you want to add in your winning ads from your creative testing campaign into the Evergreen. Now, one thing to sort of bear in mind with this, if you move an ad from the top of funnel creative testing campaign into the Evergreen campaign, you always want to leave it running in your creative testing campaign, as the number 1 rule of Facebook ads is we never want to kill a profitable ad. So always leave it running in your creative testing campaign. And then off the back of that, it is perfectly fine to have multiple ads in this structure. I don't mind having sort of 5 to 7 ads here. And the beauty of it being on a CBO structure, because we're going for efficiency, what Facebook is going to do is they're going to display the same, well, because there are 3 of the same ads here, it's going to display the ads to the best performing audience. And what that essentially means, after we have enough data in, we can actually find out which our best performing audience is, because most of the time we're going to do our creative testing on a broad audience, but we might find that the stacked interest audience commonly outperforms the broad, which means we can then change our creative testing structure. So I hope all that makes sense. As per usual, any questions, any concerns, pop a message in the school community and me or a member of the team will get back to you. Appreciate you all. Have good days.